start off with, the trailer for Revolution of the Daleks dropped yesterday, and having seen it, while it's not entirely what I expected to come from a title like that, it still looks pretty cool with the return of Captain Jack Harkness, a great story involving the Doctor in jail and her friends having to try and deal without her, and the return of the businessman Jack Robertson from Arachnids in the UK. It's set to debut on New Year's Eve once again, New Year's Day once again, which feels a little bit of a shame we don't get Christmas, but you know what, it's still new Doctor Who and I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, the next Doctor on the Doctor Breakdown, my personal favourite, the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant. Now, technically due to the numbering, he is Doctor number 11, but once again, just for simplicity, he's the 10th Doctor. And he also ended up using up 2 regeneration slots. Now, the 10th Doctor was in the role for just over, just over 4 years, with his first story coming on the 25th of December 2005, that being the Christmas Invasion, and his last story being on the 1st of January 2010. That his last story being part 2 of The End of Time. Now, he ultimately, when he was travelling in the TARDIS, had 3 main companions. He carried over Billie Piper's Rose Tyler from Christopher Eccleston's era, but he also gained 2 new ones in the form of Martha Jones, played by Freema Agyeman, and Donna Noble, played by Catherine Tate. But he also managed to get a whole load of one-time companions, temporary ones, and such like. He managed to briefly meet up again with Captain Jack Harkness at the end of Series 3 and with everyone else in Series 4, but also encountered past companions Sarah Jane Smith and K9 early on in Series 2, and then of course the big finale of Series 4. And also managed to pick up a whole load of temporary or one-time companions along the way, including Rose's ex-boyfriend Mickey Smith, played by Noel Clarke, a young man named Elton Pope, who had joined a group dedicated to the Doctor, played by Mark Warren, a young woman named Sally Sparrow, who had been investigating the Weeping Angels, played by Kerry Mulligan, Astrid Peth, an intergalactic waitress, played by Kylie Minogue, a cat burglar named Christina, played by Michelle Ryan, a Victorian teacher named Jackson Lake, played by David Morrissey, the leader of a Mars base, played Adelaide Brooke, played by Lindsay Duncan, and Donna's grandfather, Wilfred Mott, played by Bernard Cribbins. As I said, he was in the role of the Doctor for just over 4 years, with 3 main series and then 1 year of specials, that being in 2009. And over that time frame, he did encounter a lot of classic Doctor Who monsters, and ones that had been brought back from the classic series into the New Who loop, such as the Cybermen, the Daleks, the Makra, the Master, the Sontarans, and Davros. But he also did end up along the way encountering a whole load of new, some cool and some quite scary stuff, including the Weeping Angels, a mysterious midnight creature, stingrays, and the Flood on Mars, which was really quite something. Anyway, throughout this time, he did encounter many different creatures, but his final episode, The End of Time, Part 1 and 2, saw him face off once again against his old nemesis, the Master, who had been played, when he returned, by actor Derek Jacobi, but was now played by actor John Hurt. And while John Sim. Yeah. Got those two confused for a minute, I don't know why, but and John Sim's Master he was off the wall, he was crazy, and he really had a lot of fun with it. However, it's not actually the Master that led to the Doctor's doom. Because while jumping out of a spaceship and crashing down through a domed window couldn't exactly have been very good for his health, what eventually killed the Doctor was having to save his friend Wilf. Wilf ended up getting locked in a radiation chamber. A special radiation chamber where one person had to stay with it at all times. And since Wilf was locked in one side, the Doctor had to go into the other. And as I said, while jumping through the window and getting a load of cuts over his body, can't exactly have been good for himself, it was ultimately the radiation that caused the 10th Doctor to, sadly, trigger his regeneration. And I will admit, while Christopher Eccleston is my first Doctor, David Tennant was my favourite because he was, as I said, at the moment with New Who, he's the longest serving New Who Doctor, with having come into the role for 47 episodes, whereas Doctors number 11 and 12 managed 44 and 40 episodes respectively. And I remember crying at some of David Tennant's episodes. I mean, while Christopher Eccleston was really good, there were very few of his episodes that I actually remember crying at. I remember sobbing at the departure at Bad Wolf Bay at the end of Series 2, and I remember tearing up at the end of Series 4 when Donna has her memories wiped. And a lot of that was sold by David Tennant. And he remains my favourite Doctor. I mean, why do you think I got this coat? I love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do still love the show, and I did still watch the 11th Doctor, the 12th, and the 13th, but so far, the 10th Doctor has remained my favourite. Oh, even my favourite design of the sonic screwdriver. So, but yeah, I mean, as I said, he remains my favourite, but I do still continue to watch the show. So that's my quick little breakdown of the 10th Doctor. And I'll get around to say you at some point about the 11th. Anyway, until then, see ya.